So I finally did it. I made the journey to my local theater on a bleak Saturday evening and watched Marvel's Eternals. And I don't know if this movie is going to save lives or not, but I'm going to save your time and say don't watch it. And I would rather recommend huffing glue instead of watching this shitty movie. And as I predicted, The Eternals was a dull, incoherent, vacuous hodgepodge stitched together into a lumbering Frankenstein monster of a movie, which would put Tom Merlin's cloak to shame. The movie tries to juggle too many characters, too many half baked ideas, too many historic and world molding events, without the strong vision and direction to bring such an epic story to life. Scenes comes out of nowhere, dialogues drop out of nowhere, with piss poor action sequences and choreography. And don't even get me started on the god awful CGI. Hey, as the saying goes, when you play shitty games, you get shitty prizes. When you give the huge task of writing a superhero movie to a bunch of 6-year-olds who has fuck all qualification or accomplishments under their belt, and directing to a person who has no idea about comic books or superhero movies, who thinks making a movie is all about playing dress up and shooting at amazing landscapes. It is a recipe for disaster, no matter how much the shills whine and cry about.
Has opened in theaters. Critics have weighed in on it, and it has been very divisive, actually drawing the lowest rated Rotten Tomatoes score of any MCU film in history thus far. First of all, Elizabeth, it is not a bad movie in the slightest. I think it's one of Marvel's best efforts thus far. Has great action. It focuses a lot on story. It's diverse, has great characters, all that. I think this speaks to a larger problem that is in the industry. Anytime a woman takes on the action genre, which has been typically made for men to helm, people come harder on that filmmaker when she takes it on. I think it's the issue that needs to be addressed because it does not draw that criticism that it's been receiving.
Yeah, right. I guess these are all directed by a bunch of symbiotes from the planet Clintar. Man, where is James Gunn when you need him? Oh, right. He is basking in the glory of another successful movie about a bunch of vague characters no one knew or heard about. Nice job, Feige. Anyways, I'm here to give you a no bullshit review of the movie. So I guess some kind of plot synopsis is required. The Eternals are a group of immortal alien humanoids that were sent to Earth 7,000 years ago by a celestial named Arishem. They were sent to eradicate deviants, a race of alien monsters who preys on intelligent life. Eventually, the Eternals become kind of guardian deities to the human race, guiding them in their development and advancing their cultural and technological progress through the ages. And as mentioned in the trailer as well, they are only to fight the deviants and not supposed to interfere in any human affairs. Although they do, until they don't. They provide the technological idea which puts guns in man's hand, yet they stay away while the Spanish conquistadors mass murder the Aztecs. This scene actually makes no sense. She saves the girl from the falling pillar while hundreds are being murdered right in front of her. Anyways, along the same time they defeat the last deviant, Thena gets the first attack of Mad Weary. It's a unique dementia-like illness which even the Eternals can suffer due to the sheer volume of memories over time, causing them to forget exactly when they are and divorcing them from present reality. So Gilgamesh decides to look after Thena and take her somewhere else instead of erasing her memories. And Druig decides he had enough of Ajax's bullshit about not interfering, so he mind controls the remaining Spaniards and Aztecs and goes off to build his own cult in the Amazon. And Ajax decides they should all go their separate ways, as there are no more deviants. Icarus suggests Ajax that they should go to Arishem first before making any decisions, as they are a team and they should stick together. But Ajax snaps at Icarus and tells him she doesn't need his opinion and for him to know his place. This, like many other things in the movie, seems to come out of nowhere. There was no reason for Ajax to snap at Icarus like that. Anyway, fast forward to present day and Eternals are all dispersed into the far corners of the world. Cersei and Sprite have settled down in London, and Cersei is no longer married to Icarus, and now hooked up with the other Stark boy. On the same day they encounter an earthquake, they also get attacked by a deviant. Icarus comes to their rescue and saves the day. They decide to report to Ajax about the new deviant incursion. When they arrive, they find Ajax murdered by the deviant Crow. Cersei is posthumously chosen by Ajax as her successor and gains the ability to talk to Arishem. She learns after talking to Arishem that the Eternals were sent to Earth to facilitate the birth of the celestial Tiamat. Every billion years, a celestial must be born so that they can create suns to form new galaxies. Arishem has planted innumerable celestial seeds on host planets throughout the universe. And to birth a celestial, massive amounts of cosmic energy is required, which is obtained from the intelligent life of the host planets. The deviants prevented this. They were sent to cull the most dangerous predators on the earth so that intelligent life can grow. But they were flawed. Soon they evolved and became the predators themselves and started feeding on the indigenous life. Thus, the Eternals were made as a synthetic being incapable of evolving and sent to eliminate the deviants. The emergence was delayed when Thanos erased half of all life in the universe, but as they have been all brought back, it has reached the required amount to finally birth Tiamat. Why wasn't the Eternals allowed to stop Ultron or Thanos, which thwarted the birth of Tiamat? Don't know. Why none of the Avengers or Doctor Strange showed up during the whole time? Don't know. Hey, maybe it was planned by Kang all along.
Every step you took to get here, I paved the road.
Apparently, they have been doing this for billions of years, but they don't remember because after every emergence, their memories were wiped and reset. Obviously, this is bad news for the human race. So the Eternals are plunged into a race against time to stop the emergence and save the planet. So they decide to get the gang back together. While they are trying to get Druig in the Amazon to join the team, they are attacked by Crow and the other deviants. Crow, who has already got the healing powers from Ajax, also kills Gilgamesh and absorbs his power, and turns into a humanoid with speech. He describes himself a pawn in Arishem's game, and Eternals are all murderers, and he will kill them all for murdering his kind. The Eternals then goes to Phastos, who has given up on humanity, for dropping the atom bomb on Hiroshima, which was actually bestowed by him. They convince Phastos to join the team, and he comes up with a plan to use the Unimind. It's a mechanism which allows the Eternals to share their cosmic energy with each other, so that they can generate enough energy for Druig to use his mind control power and put Tiamat to sleep, while they evacuate all the humans and move them to another planet.
You serious?
The pacing of this movie is absolutely terrible. It takes an hour and a half just to finish introductions as we slog to the very contrived third act. We learn that Icarus has already been informed by Ajax centuries ago that the emergence is going to happen and all life on planet will eventually die. Ajax, who has served Arishem for millions of years, now wants to save humanity. Icarus says he trusts Ajax while luring her to the re-emerged deviants, then allows the deviants to kill her and run amok and create diversion for the Eternals to keep them from stopping the emergence. Wait, where have I seen this trope before? The Eternals finally learns that Icarus has killed Ajax, and Icarus, who seemed like the only person loyal to his purpose, says he will kill them all if needed to ensure the emergence. Sprite chooses to go with Icarus. Kingo sides with Icarus and against preventing billions of planets to be formed, but chooses to stay out of this conflict as he doesn't want to hurt any of his friends. So the remaining members go to the point of emergence, and a battle ensues between Icarus and the Eternals and Crow. Everyone eventually gets their licks in on Icarus. Another one of those lines that comes out of nowhere is when Phastos screams, "I have always wanted to clip your wings," to Icarus. Again, there is no context to this dialogue. All the interaction prior to this was amicable throughout the film. There was no bitterness or rivalry shown among the two. Anyway, So they finally defeat Icarus, and he suddenly decides to join with them and share in the Unimind. Cersei, who has never tried to grasp the full extent of her powers in the 7,000 years she has been on Earth, recently learns that she can transmute not only matter but any being as well. So she uses the Unimind and turns Tiamat into stone, ultimately stopping the emergence. Icarus, who suddenly is ridden with guilt, decides to fly into the sun. I'm sure it has nothing to do with symbolism. And Cersei turns Sprite into a human using the remaining energy from the Unimind. Druig, Makari, and Thena decide to go and search for other Eternals, while the others chooses to stay and live on Earth. Finally, Arushim makes an appearance and snatches up the Eternals living on Earth, and leaves saying he will come back at a later date to judge Earth. If you ask me the one word to describe this movie, I would say muddled. It was an absolute chore to go through the whole movie, and the awfully long runtime made it all the more harrowing. This movie was like an hyperactive kid let loose in a toy store. It wants to try 100 different things at the same time, but lacks the common sense or maturity to properly focus in any of them. There's action, romance, comedy, rivalries, secrets, moral dilemmas, betrayals, historic events, emotional trauma, world changing events, just to name a few. There was a lot of potential for this movie, but trying to cram everything in it leaves the interesting possibilities barely touched upon. Like the moral dilemma of saving one planet by preventing Tiamat to emerge, this in turn stops the creation of billions of new life forms. Or Sprite's arc, who is a 7,000-year-old eternal stuck in a body of a young girl, having adult sensibilities and desires, but lacks the physical ability to experience them. Or the repercussions of giving humanity the access to technology. The movie tries to tell big things, but actually lacks the capability or intelligence to put it into shape. And thus it ends into a huge mass of blob. And the lackluster performance by the actors does no justice to it either. Gemma Chan, who plays a pivotal role as Cersei, has not been given enough screen time to develop her character. So it's difficult to derive what actually drives her, and her bland, lifeless performance makes me soon not care about her anymore. Richard Madden tries to do his best, but he's not very interesting as a hero or very threatening as a villain. And together they have no chemistry or screen presence at all. Angelina Jolie looks old, frail, and disinterested most of the time. Salma Hayek has a screen time of like 5 minutes in the entire movie, and the rest of the cast has not been given enough screen time to actually make any difference. Having more characters in your film certainly does not give it character. The scale and scope of Eternals is way beyond Zhao's ability to control. Most of the time it feels the story meandering from one event to another without any sense of urgency. The entire planet is about to get destroyed, and these idiots are having leisurely dinners and making fun of each other. It is further proof that the MCU is utterly spent creatively, drifting from one narrative to another without any sense of purpose or direction, churning out one disastrous movie or show after another, and more are in the way. So don't think, dear viewers, just consume. It's been a fun 10 years, but maybe it's time to move on to something more entertaining.
Whoa.
Interesting.
Anyways, that's enough rant for today. If you liked my video, smash that like button. If you didn't like my video, I thank you for watching this far. And I'll be back with some more content. So until next time guys, take care now. Bye bye.